Let's talk about the military and firearms. What's up, Wolverines, and welcome back to my channel, John Crump News. Before I get into today's story, I want to talk about something. Today is my youngest son's birthday. He is 6 years old today, so if everyone can wish Nicky Crump a happy birthday, that would be freaking fantastic. I will show it to him, and I think that he would really like it. All right, with that out of the way, we're going to jump right into today's story because my oldest is sick and I'm taking care of him. But the military has released their recommendations to prevent suicide by military members. And a lot of it is anti-gun. If you remember, during the NDAA, GOA was trying to take some stuff out of there and push it. But some people said, hey, it's not a big deal. It's just research and it's an optional pilot program. I'm talking about safe storage, and we will get to that in a second. But that did turn out to be a big deal, as we can see in this document. So the people that said it was no big deal are wrong. So let's just jump into the recommendations that deal with firearms in this report. They want to repeal Public Law 112-239 Section 1057 and replace it with a procedural due process regarding the collection and recording of information relating to the lawful acquisition, possession, ownership, carrying, or other use of privately owned firearms or weapons by military personnel and civilian employees of DOD. Yes, not only is this dealing with the military people, but it's also dealing to civilian employees that work for the DOD. I know a lot of people that work for the DOD, so this is going to be affecting them. The report also wants the Office of the General Counsel to issue guidance that outlines how important information about firearms acquisition, possession, ownership, carrying, and other use of privately owned firearms or weapons by military personnel and civilian employees of the DOD can legally be collected by the program's evaluators. Yes, they want to collect the information on who carries a firearm and how they carry a firearm. They also want to establish a DOD-approved firearms safety training that will be required to own a firearm. And also, you have to take a refresher every 5 years. So this is adding a requirement on your ability to carry a firearm, which is kind of funny because military members, even the officers, have to qualify with some type of firearm. So this is in addition to that, which is just pitting a burden on the military members to prevent them from owning firearms. There will also be a 7-day waiting period to buy any gun on DOD property. On the PXs and BXs on bases, you can go there and you can buy firearms at a discounted rate with no taxes. So they want to stop that from happening. So they are pitting a 7-day waiting period on buying a firearm on DOD property. In addition to that, there will be a 4-day waiting period for ammo. So you just can't go in and buy ammo on a base without going through a 4-day waiting period if this goes through, which means it will force people to go off base to purchase the ammunition, which I think is kind of what their play is. Tax-free shopping does make things cheaper. So by forcing people to go off base to buy ammunition and firearms, it means it costs more money, which means people buy less, which means people will interact with their God-given right to bear arms even less because they can't afford it and they don't want to wait the 7 days. In addition to all that, there's more. They want to develop a national database for recording serial numbers purchased on DOD property. Basically, they want to have a registry of guns purchased on DOD property, which is kind of ridiculous. Okay, I know, this is a lot, but they also want to raise the age to buy a firearm on base to 25. You got a bunch of 18-year-olds running around with fully automatic M4s, but yet those people are not allowed to own their own firearms until they're 25, which is ridiculous because they have access to fully automatic machine guns. So you want to restrict their ability to buy a firearm until they're 25? If at all, what you should do is let them buy handguns at 18 because they have access to more powerful weapons than what they can get in the BXs and PXs. Also, they want to have notification procedures in place that will notify them anytime a service member or family member that lives on base buys a firearm, which is kind of scary because they are building a registry, people, and registries are never good. Registration always leads to confiscation. Now let's get into the NDAA stuff. During the NDAA stuff, there was a pilot program for safe storage of firearms, and a lot of people said, hey, that's no big deal. GOA said this is a huge deal, but a lot of people didn't agree with them. Paul Glasgow, for example, said that it was a huge deal, and people jumped on him for it. And it looks like Paul was right. Basically, what it says is they will incentivize the buying of locks and safes by offering discount programs, which isn't a big deal. But what is a big deal is the next thing. If you live on base, you will be required for safe storage. So even if you live by yourself or with just your wife and you or your husband and you don't have any kids to worry about getting your firearm, you still will be required to lock that firearm up. Now, my firearms are locked up because I have kids. I got an easy access safe. But that should not be a requirement. That should be a personal choice. And the DOD is taking away that personal choice from you. Also, if you live in a dormitory, you're not allowed to own a firearm anymore. All the people that live in dormitories are enlisted, and these are the guys and girls that are the tip of the spear. These are the people that are fighting for your rights. They're the ones that will go on the front lines. They're the ones who are the infantrymen and women, and they are the ones that fight for your freedom. Yet we're going to take away a little bit of their freedom away. Also, the final thing it does is turn every military base and DOD property into gun-free zones. If you do not live on base, you would not be allowed to carry a firearm unless it's in your official duty, which is ridiculous. Now, this stuff really, really bugs me, and I'm going to tell you why. I am a dependent. My wife is active duty, and with this, it really hits home because if she lived on base, I would be under a lot of these requirements, which I would promptly ignore, but that's just me. All right, guys, that is it. Support your local service member by calling up your local reps and telling them that this shit has to go. All right, guys, that's it for today. I want to thank every channel member out there that supports the channel. I want to thank everyone that subscribes on locals at johncrump.locals.com. I want to thank everyone that supports me on Patreon. You guys make a big difference, and that money is going to good use. Oh, by the way, did you hear that the government said that COVID-19 was most likely made in a lab? I wonder if YouTube is going to remove my strike on John Crump Live because I did say that and they gave me a strike for misinformation. I kind of doubt it though, but we'll see. All right, guys, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keep in the fight. I am out of here. Wolverine's mother.